The miracle of gratitude. Mental illness is nothing to fear. Thank you. Just how much power do these 5 simple characters hold? They convey gratitude, deepen bonds between people, and can even change lives. Through the story of one man, let's explore the mysterious power of thank you. There was a man named Lakshana. He carried a deep darkness within his heart. It was a suffering of unknown cause, one that even he himself didn't quite understand. One day, Lakshana encountered the power of gratitude. From that moment on, his life began to change dramatically. By weaving the words "thank you," Lakshana faced himself and deepened his bonds with his loved ones. And those words, not just for him but for those around him as well, brought about miraculous changes. Through this story, I hope you can feel the immeasurable power that the words "thank you" hold. Now, together with Lakshana, let's take a step into the world of a story woven by words of gratitude. In a town in ancient India, there lived a young man named Lakshana. At first glance, he seemed to lead a life of comfort. He enjoyed interacting with his friends, and his work was valued by his superiors. However, Lakshana's inner self was shrouded in deep darkness. He suffered from depression of unknown cause, and deep in his heart, he was constantly tormented by anxiety and despair. On the surface, he pretended to be calm, but in his heart, there was always a fierce conflict swirling.
Why, just what is it that's making me suffer so much?
Lakshana asked himself this question over and over again, but he could find no answer. Not knowing the cause of his mental illness tormented him further. Lakshana's wife, Priya, also began to notice the change in him. The couple's conversations gradually decreased, and Lakshana closed off his heart. Even when Priya asked with concern, he simply brushed it off, saying he was fine. Lakshana couldn't reveal his inner thoughts to anyone. The desire to not show weakness and the fear that no one would understand his illness of unknown cause imprisoned him.
Who would understand me like this? No, maybe there isn't anyone who would even try to understand.
Tormented by loneliness, Lakshana continued to bear his suffering alone. His heart grew more exhausted by the day, and soon he was nearing his limit. Lakshana's heart closed off in darkness. He simply sought with all his might a helping hand. Even as he was about to be swallowed by the darkness in his heart, Lakshana desperately tried to find a way out. It was then that he heard rumors of a renowned fortune teller named Mulakampa. It was said that if one sought out Mulakampa, any worry could be resolved. Clinging to this like a drowning man to a straw, Lakshana visited Mulakampa. Inside the hut, an old man with white hair greeted him. Lakshana spoke of his suffering.
Please, tell me how to cure my mental illness.
Lakshana pleaded desperately. Mulakampa listened to his story and then quietly began to speak.
I have a special instrument that can cure your illness. If you listen to this every day without fail, eventually a miracle will occur.
Saying this, Mulakampa handed Lakshana an instrument. It had a strange shape he had never seen before and was said to produce a high-pitched tone. Although half in doubt, Lakshana accepted the instrument. He thought he wanted to bet on any possibility.
Thank you very much. I will make sure to listen to it every day.
With hope in his heart, Lakshana left the fortune teller's hut. He carefully brought the instrument home, and from that day on, he listened to its sound every day without fail. At first, he felt as if his heart was being cleansed by the strange tone. However, as the days passed, the effect faded.
Nothing's changing. My heart is still heavy and painful.
Despair assailed Lakshana. He continued to listen to the instrument every day, believing in the fortune teller's words, but no miracle occurred. Rather, the darkness in his heart seemed to be deepening even further.
What should I believe in now?
Lakshana's heart was once again approaching its limit. The fortune teller's advice was in vain, and the darkness in Lakshana's heart only deepened. Day by day, he lived with a heavy feeling in his heart. His conversations with those around him decreased, and he rarely showed a smile anymore. Then one day, on his way to work, Lakshana was suddenly struck by a severe dizziness.
Ugh, What is this?
He tried desperately to move forward while staggering, but his feet wouldn't move as he wanted. His vision distorted and his consciousness faded.
It's impossible.
Lakshana collapsed on the side of the road. His consciousness cut off there. Eventually, Lakshana noticed that he was in an unfamiliar place. Looking around, he saw that it was a simple yet pure-feeling monastery.
Are you awake?
A kind voice reached his ears. Turning around, he saw an old monk smiling at him.
Where is this? Why am I...
I found you collapsed on the roadside and brought you to this monastery.
The old monk said this and offered Lakshana some water. Filled with embarrassment and apology, Lakshana accepted the water.
Your heart seems to be very tired. If you don't mind, please tell me your story.
The old monk's words were as kind as if they were snuggling up to his soul. Lakshana found himself beginning to talk about the suffering he had never been able to confide in anyone before.
I have been suffering from a mental illness of unknown cause for a long time. I visited a fortune teller and asked for advice, but...
Lakshana spoke with tears in his eyes. The old monk listened to his words and nodded quietly. Then he opened his mouth.
Your heart's illness cannot be healed simply by listening to sound. However, through the Buddha's teachings, there is a path to liberation from that suffering.
At those words, a small light lit in Lakshana's heart. Looking at the old monk, he said,
Please teach me that path. I will do anything.
Then tomorrow, let us visit the world-honored one together. Surely it will be your salvation.
At the old monk's words, Lakshana bowed deeply. Perhaps it was because he had reached his limit that he found the courage to take a new step. The next day, in the light of the morning sun, Lakshana headed to the Buddha together with the old monk. On the way, expectation and anxiety mixed in Lakshana's heart. Would the Buddha truly understand his suffering? Eventually, the two arrived at the place where the Buddha was preaching. Many people were gathered there, listening to the Buddha's words. When the Buddha noticed Lakshana and the monk, he welcomed them with a gentle smile.
Welcome. Please tell me about the suffering of your heart.
At the Buddha's gentle voice, Lakshana felt tears welling up despite himself. He revealed everything in his heart. How he suffered from an illness of unknown cause, and how the fortune teller's advice was in vain, and how he sought a way to be freed from this suffering. The Buddha listened to Lakshana's story and then gazed at him with eyes full of compassion.
Lakshana, your suffering is not something that can be healed simply by listening to sound. What's important is to first face your inner self.
World-honored one, what does that mean?
When Lakshana asked, the Buddha calmly began to explain.
Devote yourself to meditation and face your past self. The cause of your suffering must be hidden deep in your heart. Find out what it is.
The Buddha's words penetrated deep into Lakshana's heart. To face his inner self. That was something he had avoided until now.
World-honored one, I will try to devote myself to meditation as you say. Surely I will be able to realize the truth of my heart.
Lakshana bowed to the Buddha with a feeling of gratitude. The Buddha smiled gently at him.
Whatever truth you see, have the courage to accept it. I am watching over your heart's journey.
Encouraged by the Buddha's warm words, Lakshana returned to the old monk's monastery. A new determination was sprouting in his heart.
To face my past self? Surely there must be a path to my salvation there.
Thus began Lakshana's inner journey. He devoted himself to meditation, trying to penetrate deep into his own heart. Lakshana spent his days in the monastery immersed in meditation. As the Buddha taught, he dedicated himself to facing his inner self. As he continued to meditate, one memory surfaced vividly in Lakshana's mind. It was a memory of his late mother. Lakshana grew up in a single-mother household. His mother worked hard to raise him and poured her love into him. However, when he was young, Lakshana couldn't straightforwardly accept that love. In the midst of his rebellious phase, he rebelled against his mother and sometimes even raised his hand against her.
Why was I so foolish back then?
Every time he remembered his past self, Lakshana's chest tightened in pain. His mother didn't live to see him become a fine adult. Before Lakshana realized his mother's love and could convey his gratitude, she passed away.
Mother, I did terrible things to you. I am truly sorry.
In his meditation, Lakshana repeated words of apology to his mother over and over. He regretted his youthful mistakes and blamed himself for not being able to reciprocate his mother's love. Tears ran down his cheeks. Lakshana continued to face the regret that nested within him. He felt his heart gradually changing. Realizing what he was beginning to see as he continued meditating, Lakshana visited the Buddha. When he confided about the memories of his mother that he saw in meditation, the Buddha nodded gently.
Lakshana, the memories you saw may be the source of the darkness in your heart.
World-honored one, what does that mean?
When Lakshana asked, the Buddha calmly explained.
You have carried feelings that you should have conveyed to your mother up until now. Releasing those feelings will likely be the key to your salvation.
At the Buddha's words, Lakshana felt his thoughts towards his mother swirling deep in his heart. The desire to convey, feelings of apology, words of gratitude. Releasing those might be what would free his own heart.
World-honored one, what should I do? My mother is no longer in this world.
To Lakshana, who asked with sadness, the Buddha gave a mysterious smile.
There is no need to worry. With my power, I will guide you to the world where your mother is. There, you will be able to have a dialogue with your mother.
At the Buddha's words, a light of hope shone in Lakshana's heart. He was being given a chance to face his mother. Although it was hard to believe right away, he bowed to the Buddha with a sense of gratitude. Thus, Lakshana was guided on a journey to confront his past memories and face his feelings towards his mother. His heart's salvation may have been drawing near. As the Buddha said, Lakshana was guided to a different world by supernatural powers. When he opened his eyes, it was a familiar sight. He was standing in front of the house he lived in as a child.
Could it be?
Lakshana couldn't hide his surprise. Then a familiar voice came from inside the house.
Lakshana, dinner is ready.
At that voice, Lakshana's heart was greatly shaken. As if time had rewound, his mother from his younger days appeared before him. Peeking gently inside the house, he saw his young mother interacting with his child self with lots of love. That sight perfectly overlapped with the one in Lakshana's memory.
Mother.
Lakshana let out a voice despite himself. Then, his young mother noticed Lakshana and made a puzzled expression.
Oh my, who might you be?
His mother asked in a kind tone. Lakshana was at a loss for words. How should he explain his presence here to his mother?
I just wanted to come and say one word of thanks to you.
Lakshana said that and bowed deeply to his mother. His mother, though bewildered, gave a smile.
Thanks? Did you have some trouble?
At his mother's kindness, Lakshana's chest grew hot. Before him now was his mother from his younger days. The mother from the time when Lakshana hurt her and couldn't notice her love.
Please continue to pour your love unchangingly from now on. Surely your son will become a fine man.
Lakshana told his mother with tears in his eyes. His mother, though wearing a puzzled expression, nodded.
Yes, I will continue to love my son from now on. That is a mother's duty.
At his mother's words, Lakshana's chest filled with a sense of gratitude. He felt his mother's kindness and unconditional love from the bottom of his heart. Suddenly the scenery wavers. The time in this different world was about to end. Lakshana spoke to his mother one last time.
Mother, thank you truly. I will never forget your love.
As he said that, Lakshana's consciousness was pulled back to the present world. When he opened his eyes, the Buddha was there.
Lakshana, what did you feel?
When the Buddha asked, Lakshana answered while feeling something welling up in his chest.
I felt my mother's infinite love, and I realized that I had thought I understood that love, but I hadn't truly understood it.
At Lakshana's words, the Buddha nodded with a satisfied look.
You have touched the essence of your mother's love. That realization will be the key to freeing your heart.
With the Buddha's words in his heart, Lakshana was to return to his life in the present world. In his heart, gratitude towards his mother and a new determination were sprouting. On his way back from the monastery, Lakshana headed straight to his mother's grave. He put his hands together and closed his eyes. In his heart, he spoke to his mother.
Mother, thank you truly for everything until now. I lived without understanding your love at all.
Tears ran down Lakshana's cheeks. Through his encounter with his mother from his younger days, he keenly felt the depth of his mother's love.
I was immature and kept hurting you. Despite that, you continued to love me until the end.
In front of the grave, Lakshana repeated words of gratitude over and over. With thoughts of his mother in his heart, he headed home. When he arrived home, his wife Priya greeted him with a worried face.
Where were you until so late? I was worried.
At Priya's words, Lakshana had a realization. Having realized his mother's love, he now noticed that his wife before him was also pouring unconditional love into him.
Priya, I have been truly foolish until now. I didn't notice your love and kept closing off my heart.
Lakshana took his wife's hand and spoke to her with a sincere gaze. Priya, though surprised, sensed the change in her husband.
But it's all right now. I've realized the depth of your love. The love poured from my mother and from you.
As Lakshana said that, tears welled up in his eyes. Priya gently embraced Lakshana.
Yes, I have always loved you. I will be on your side no matter what.
At his wife's warm words, Lakshana's heart was enveloped in peace. A mother's love, a wife's love. He had finally noticed their infinite expanses. That night, Lakshana told his wife everything. About his mental illness, the fortune teller's advice, his encounter with the Buddha, and his reunion with his mother in the other world. He spoke of everything, without concealing anything. Priya listened to her husband's story, sometimes shedding tears as she listened. To Lakshana, who had finished his story, she smiled gently.
You really worked hard on your journey of the heart. I am truly proud of you.
At his wife's words, Lakshana was filled with a sense of gratitude, and he vowed in his heart to return to his wife the love that she poured into him. Thus, with gratitude to his mother in his heart, Lakshana renewed his love for his wife. He felt his heart being freed little by little.
Mother Priya, I am a man blessed with you too. I will live never forgetting this happiness.
Lakshana gently closed his eyes and offered a prayer of gratitude to the two women he loved. His life was about to take a new step. Through his journey of the heart, Lakshana realized, along with gratitude to his mother, the depth of his wife Priya's love. He revealed everything to his wife and held a new determination in his heart.
Priya, there's something I want to tell you.
That night, Lakshana invited his wife to the garden. Under the starry sky, the two stood quietly.
I didn't notice your love and made things hard for you. I am truly sorry.
Lakshana took his wife's hand and spoke to her with a sincere gaze. Priya smiled gently at her husband's words.
No, don't apologize. You have earnestly faced the darkness in your heart.
At his wife's understanding, Lakshana was filled with a sense of gratitude. He put his feelings for his wife into words once more.
Priya, you poured unconditional love into me. I want to return that depth of love in my life from now on. You'd be troubled if I just kept apologizing, wouldn't you? I want to convey my gratitude anew. Thank you, thank you.
Lakshana's eyes, as he said that, shone with a sincere light. Priya gripped her husband's hand in return and nodded.
Lakshana, being by your side, that is my happiness. If I can be a support for your heart, there is no greater joy. It is I who should say thank you.
At his wife's words, Lakshana's chest trembled with emotion. He gently embraced his wife and spun words of oath.
Priya, I will live together with you, so that your joy becomes my joy, so that your sorrow becomes my sorrow.
Lakshana,
Priya, overcome with emotion, buried her face in her husband's chest. The two embraced for a long time under the starry sky. That night, the bond between Lakshana and Priya gained a new depth. Lakshana vowed in his heart to show his love for his wife through words and actions. The next morning, Lakshana's expression upon waking was different from before. A new light dwelt in his eyes.
Priya, let's spend today with smiles too. I want to cherish your happiness above all else.
Priya nodded happily at Lakshana's words. The couple took each other's hands and welcomed the start of a new day. Lakshana's heart was filled with love for his wife. The love he received from his mother, he would now pour into his wife. With that determination in his heart, he began to walk.
Priya, I will never forget the joy of living together with you.
Lakshana gripped his wife's hand and repeated his words of oath in his heart. His life would continue on a new journey, walking together with his beloved wife. Through his journey of the heart, Lakshana deepened his feelings of gratitude towards his mother and wife. His heart was lighter than ever before, and that change was conveyed to those around him. That day, on his way to work, Lakshana met his colleague Ajita. The Lakshana of before would have just given a curt greeting, but today he was different.
Ajita, good morning. Thank you truly for always supporting me.
Lakshana conveyed his words of gratitude to his colleague with a bright expression. Ajita, though surprised, replied happily.
Lakshana, good morning. It is I who am grateful to be able to work with you. Thank you.
The two shook hands with smiles and headed to work. Lakshana's feelings of gratitude spread to his colleagues. On his way home, Lakshana met his old friend Barba at a bar. At the reunion with his childhood friend, Lakshana felt a sense of nostalgia.
Barba, it's been a while. Thank you for always helping me when we were kids. The memories from back then are my treasures.
Barba was struck by Lakshana's words. He too cherished his bond with Lakshana.
Lakshana, I feel the same way. I'm really glad I met you. Let's keep in touch from now on too, thank you.
The two embraced firmly and went their separate ways home. Lakshana's heart was filled with thoughts of gratitude towards his friend. Thus, in his interactions with colleagues and friends, Lakshana put his feelings of gratitude into words and conveyed them. The change in his heart enveloped those around him in a gentle joy. Lakshana looked up at the sky and murmured,
Just today, I may have said more thank yous than in my entire life.
Even as he murmured that, Lakshana's steps were light. With gratitude in his heart, he headed home, where his beloved wife waited.
Priya, I'm home. Today too, I am grateful for your love. Thank you.
Arriving home, Lakshana gently embraced his wife. Priya too felt happiness at her husband's words. Thus, Lakshana's words of thank you began to chain to those around him. His thoughts of gratitude warmly enveloped the hearts of many people. Lakshana felt his own heart growing lighter little by little as he spoke words of gratitude. The thank yous to his colleagues, friends, and beloved wife brought new joy to his daily life. One day, Lakshana saw an old woman in town carrying what looked like a heavy load. The him of before might have pretended not to see, but the current him was different.
Grandmother, let me carry your luggage. It's all right.
Lakshana called out gently and took the old woman's luggage. The old woman, though surprised, smiled happily.
Thank you, young man. I am grateful for your kindness.
At the old woman's words, Lakshana felt his heart grow warm. He realized that his small kindness led to someone's happiness.
No, it is I who am grateful. I learned many things from you, grandmother.
Lakshana thanked her and walked away, reluctant to part with the old woman. Thus, Lakshana began to convey his gratitude by saying thank you, even to strangers. His kindness moved the hearts of the people in town, one after another. Lakshana's change was also conveyed to his wife, Priya. The bond between the husband and wife deepened, and an even warmer air than before flowed between them.
Lakshana, I'm so glad you opened your heart. My every day is filled with gratitude towards you. Thank you.
Lakshana smiled gently at Priya's words.
Priya, my life with you is my greatest happiness. Thank you truly.
The husband and wife conveyed their gratitude to each other from the bottom of their hearts and gripped each other's hands tightly. Lakshana's thank you eventually spread throughout the town. The circle of his gratitude enveloped the hearts of many people in a gentle joy. People exchanged greetings with smiles, and a spirit of mutual help filled the town. Lakshana's change changed the people around him too. The chain of thank you changed Lakshana's world as if by magic. He was grateful for his life from the bottom of his heart and vowed to live each day preciously. One day on his way home, Lakshana looked up at the sky and quietly closed his eyes.
To the world-honored one, to Mother, to Priya, and to all the people who have been involved in my life, I give my thanks. Thank you.
His prayer of gratitude spread quietly on the wind. Lakshana's world was filled with the words thank you and shone brightly.
Now let's return home where my beloved wife waits.
This story shows us several deep lessons. The first is the importance of facing one's inner self. Through meditation, Lakshana faced his past and found the root of the suffering deep in his heart. Facing oneself is essential for the healing and growth of the heart. The second is the power of gratitude. By expressing his gratitude to his mother, wife, and those around him, Lakshana's heart became lighter and his life changed. Words of gratitude have the power to make not only oneself, but also those around one happy. The third is the infinite expanse of love. Lakshana noticed the love poured from his mother and wife and spread that love to other people. Love is something that spreads the more one gives, and it enriches life. The fourth is the profundity of the Buddha's teachings. The Buddha's teachings played a big role in the salvation of Lakshana's heart. The Buddha's teachings preach the importance of facing the self and cultivating a heart of compassion and gratitude. The fifth is the chain of change. Lakshana's change also influenced those around him. The change of one person has the power to move the hearts of those around them and create a better world. This story teaches us the importance of facing ourselves and cultivating a heart of gratitude and love. At the same time, it showed us that each person's change has the power to change the world. Lakshana's journey is also a story of the growth of each of our hearts.